Zero Trust 2.0 is an evolved and more comprehensive approach to cybersecurity, building upon the foundational principles of the original Zero Trust model. The core principle remains never trust, always verify, emphasizing that trust should not be automatically granted based on network location or previous interactions, and verification is essential for every interaction within the network. Imagine your home, where you have locks on the doors and windows. Now suppose you decide that even people you trust, like family members, need to show their ID each time they enter a room. That's similar to zero trust in cybersecurity. No one is trusted by default, even if they are inside the network. Let's break down the concept of zero trust in cybersecurity and explore how it relates to several key areas. When it comes to zero trust, separation at every level is required to ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability. At the network level, this means dividing devices into logically two separate planes that are completely separated. One is going to be called the control plane, while the other is the data plane. In networking, the control plane is a crucial component that manages how the data should flow across the network. It's separate from the data plane, which is responsible for actually moving the packets. Let's break this down using an analogy of railroads and trains to see what the control plane does and why it's vital, including why it's also called the management plane. Imagine the control plane as a railroad station master who decides which tracks the trains should use to reach their destinations most efficiently. The control plane is responsible for determining the best path for data to travel from its source to its destination. It does this using routing protocols that analyze the network's topology, traffic conditions, and other factors. It enforces rules and policies that govern how the network operates. These rules might include access controls, quality of service policies, and security measures. In a railroad system, the station master sets schedules, decides which platforms the trains should arrive at, and instructs train drivers on when to start and to stop. In the same way, the control plane sets guidelines for how data is treated within the network, including prioritizing certain types of data or directing data to certain paths. The control plane communicates changes in the network's topology or conditions, ensuring that all devices are aware of the current state and can adjust accordingly. If there is a blocked track or a delay, the station master communicates with all of the trains to reroute them and adjust their schedules. Here's a few methods of implementing zero trust practices on the control plane when it comes to identity, access control, and threat reduction. With adaptive identity, it's like having a smart lock that can recognize who is at the door and adjust based on various factors, such as the time of day, the device they're using, or their own behavior. This is next level MFA. Threat scope reduction involves minimizing the areas that could be attacked or affected if something goes wrong. Think of it as using segmentation and having separate locks for every room in your house. Policy-driven access control is like setting house rules for who can go into which rooms and when. Maybe kids can't go into the office and no one can go into the basement after dark. Secured zones are like dividing your house into high security areas, each with a unique security measure. The garage might only require a PIN code, while the safe in your bedroom might need a fingerprint. Different parts of a network can have different security requirements. Zero trust ensures that even within trusted zones, access is still restricted and monitored. While the control plane decides where data should go, the data plane is all about moving that data to its final destination. The data plane, sometimes referred to as the forwarding plane, is responsible for processing and transmitting data packets. The zero trust approach, when applied to data plane, emphasizes that no packet of data should be trusted simply because it's within the network. Each piece of data must be continually validated and secured. Let's use a simple analogy to break this down. Think of a security system in a museum. The museum has several precious artifacts, and not everyone should be allowed to touch or move them. This is where the data plane security comes in. Here's how zero trust can apply to the data plane. First, there's something called the policy engine. Imagine the policy engine as the museum's management team. They make the rules about who can do what in the museum. For example, visitors can look at artifacts but cannot touch. Only certain staff members can handle the artifacts. Artifacts can only be moved during certain hours. These rules are created based on the importance and sensitivity of the artifacts. With a zero trust approach, our museum management is even more careful about its roles. They may say no one, including staff, is allowed near an artifact without showing a special ID card every time they approach. Even with the ID card, access is granted only for specific tasks and for a limited time. Let's talk about policy enforcement points. Think of this as the museum's security guards. They're positioned at various points in the museum, and they ensure that everyone follows the rules set by management, who is going to be the policy engine. Now, with zero trust, our museum's security guards are on high alert. They don't allow anyone near the artifact just because they were allowed yesterday. Every day, every time, the rules always apply. And they also constantly check and verify the ID cards to ensure they're not fake or expired. Policy automation is like having an advanced security system in our museum that works automatically. Imagine there are cameras and sensors everywhere. These cameras and sensors are programmed to detect any rule breaking. If a visitor gets too close to an artifact, an alarm might sound. If an artifact is moved outside of the allowed hours, the system automatically locks all of the exit doors. This automation ensures that even if a security guard misses something, the system itself will catch it. With zero trust in mind, our advanced security system becomes even smarter. Cameras are equipped with facial recognition, ensuring the person using the ID card is indeed the owner of that card. Sensors might check how long someone is near an artifact and send an alert if they overstay their time. In essence, with zero trust, the system operates under the principle of never trust, always verify. Everyone, whether inside, outside, is constantly being scrutinized to ensure the security of the data or of the artifacts in the museum. When it comes to the data plane security system using zero trust, the policy engine sets stringent rules, never assuming anyone is harmless. Policy enforcement points ensure those rules are followed to the letter, checking everything, verifying constantly. And policy automation uses advanced tools to ensure that even the smallest discrepancies are caught and acted upon. The zero trust model in cybersecurity is like turning your home into a high security facility where trust is never assumed. Every person and device must continually prove they are who they say they are with adaptive identity. Access is limited to reduce risks, threat scope reduction. Rules dictate what can be accessed and when, just like the policy-driven access control, and different areas have varying security levels, the secured zones we talked about. It's a shift from thinking everyone inside is safe to trust no one, always continually verify, making it a flexible, robust, evolving approach to keeping data and systems secure.